clinical teams.
Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Now we have Paramita Shomdeb from Infosys presenting the perfect formula for successful data validation on cloud. Over to you, Paramita.
Introduction. Yeah, if we can see my let me just make it full screen. Right. So hi everyone. Good afternoon. So the topic which I'm going to share my thought, insights, and my practical understanding based on the various clientele work which I have been doing is the perfect formula for successful data validation on cloud. So we have been kind of hearing or we know that everyone is in on their cloud journey right now. So we were talking about traditional databases like Teradata, Oracle, and regular RDBMS. To be very honest, in around 10 years back, from there we moved on to big data, and now we have moved into cloud, where we want to leverage the advantage, the features which cloud has, and why it is making it distinct. Now, at the same time, though the technology is changing, I have to make sure that my data, which is moving to cloud, the data is safe, the data is accurate, and I am able to derive the correct insight from the data, right? And that is where I'm just wanted to call it out here in this the first slide. What I represent is that data landscape has always been something which is like we have been not able to tap it to the fullest potential. uh, so if we look at the stats, there's less than 50 percentage of available data which is being getting used actually by the organizations for making their business led decisions. But then what's happening to the remaining? So the remaining data is either not correct, or they are not accurate, or it means they're corrupt, and I cannot leverage it. Now, with the change of technology, the nature of technology which is changing, and as I told just now, that from regular traditional RDBMS, we have moved way past that into from to real streaming to now in cloud, right? Same time, according to Gartner we, and other data market analysts, we see that by one third of the total data will move on cloud by the end of 2020. So we are already there in end of 2020, and it should move. It has already moved as we speak, and that is why we are seeing a lot of insights, artifacts, articles from coming out from all these market data analysts that how should we tackle or handle our data on cloud. The data universe is increasing, and it's doubling at twice the rate. If you look at the number, I just can't even pronounce the number right now with the four and the zeros out here, because that is the way how the data is expanding. Data is expanding, data is moving to cloud, which is well and good, but at the same time there's a lot of regulatory norms which are there, like we have GDPR for Europe, we have HIPAA for the health side, we have recently been moved into CCPA, which is for the California based act, and this needs to ensure that all our data which is moving. So why I'm bringing the compliance factor out here is that I have to make sure the data which is moving to my cloud is adhering to all these things, right? And that is where is the major focus, that these all changes are happening to data, and that is where I need to make sure that I am ensure my data which is moving is correct and accurate, right? Now, why is cloud based data validation different from the traditional RDBMS approach and all which we have been using till now, right? So the four criteria which defines them. First is basically the data model. The regular RDBMS is where we have structured data, we have data in table or file, and it's kind of right now it looks very easy. Though when it started, that was only a complex thing, but right now we can call it out. It's quite easy, table to table, file to file validation. But then the same data, if I'm moving to cloud, can I do a direct lift and shift? I cannot do that. I have to change the data models, which has to adhere to the models which are specific to cloud. And for that, there might be certain data type changes also which needs to happen, because we have seen that, let's say for example in Oracle the data timestamp is being stored in millisecond, whereas if you go to Snowflake on cloud it is stored in nanosecond. So that means you just cannot do a direct lift and shift. You have to make sure your data model is adhering to that, right? The second thing, or the second criteria which we look for, is why the difference is basically, is my current set of automation tool which I have been using for my regular RDBMS, is that sufficient for me to test the data which has moved to cloud? Uh, I can extend that. I would not say that fully it is no. I can extend my on-premise based solutions, automation solutions, which can connect to cloud. But at the same time, the need of the cloud native solution is the need of the hour. The ask is that, right? So I need to make sure my solutions, if I'm leveraging, and why I'm saying that I need a cloud native solution, I need a cloud native solution because then the talking of this cloud native automation tool with the cloud infrastructure is much more easier. You get a lot of flexibility to fine tune, define, bring up, bring it down, and all those options, permutation, combination is what you're going to get as a part of the automation tool, right? The next focus area, when I say cloud based data validation difference, is the quality. So till now we have been kind of focusing only on field formats, simple data quality checks like null, duplicate, those kind of things, which will continue in cloud. It's not going to go away. But then at the same time, what we have seen that any kind of cloud movement is not a one, neither it's a lift and shift nor it's a one-stop movement. So you have multiple layers which data movement, which I'll touch base in the subsequent slide. And we have to make sure that your data movement in each of the phase. So there are basically 3 4 phases which is going to come into picture when your data is moving. So if you're moving from on-premise to Azure, it's not that you will directly Azure SQL. It's not that you will directly uh, put your data out there. So you basically go into a landing zone, which can be an Azure blob, do your fine tuning, cleaning. Then you move into the next subsequent stage where you have the sessionization, you do the transformation. Then you finally move into the final layer of Azure Lake or Azure Data Factory or whatever you want to use, right? So that means there are multiple pit stops happening, and between each of the pit stop, you have to make sure your data is 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 the right data which was there in your on premise, or is the data, it can be a cloud to cloud movement also. So is the data which is a data which is the correct set of data without any truncation, without any appended junk data which is happening and leading to an incorrect data at the end of the day. The last being the cost factor. So though we in infrastructure wise, when it comes into on-premise, it's a fixed cost, one-time cost which we're looking into. But whereas the cloud side of it basically involves a pay-per-use model. Now, why this is a differentiation factor out here is primarily because that I don't want my entire data to be dumped into cloud and then I do a validation of it. I have to make sure that I do this basic checks, this cross checking, cleaning up of data before I move. I do this data cleanup activity before I move into cloud, so that my cost is effective. And at the end of the day, the pay per use model, you are able to leverage the way it is, because even in a QA environment, so when I'm talking from a QA perspective, it is not that a QA environment, cloud environment is not chargeable. A QA cloud environment is chargeable based on the usage you are doing. So if you're running a query which is taking you a long time, you are spending a lot of the compute cost, you are going to pay more. So that is where you have to make sure that your cost wise also the difference which comes into picture, right? So as I move along, now that we know the difference, now that we know why we are moving to cloud, so what are the 4 different use cases which we see that where there is a data movement to cloud happening, right? So the first use case being that any data warehouse, if you are doing a modernization, is for what is the first use case which most of our customers we are seeing these days is doing. What they are doing is that they are basically modernizing their technology landscape, their technical landscape, to leverage the benefit of cloud, and they're moving to cloud data warehouses. The second being application modernization, where your data modernization to a cloud storage. For example, the you have something on your on-premise SQL, but you are moving it to your Azure SQL. You have something on your on-premise Oracle, but you want to move it to AWS Redshift, right? So you're basically modernizing the application, right? Then the third one being your data lake hosted on cloud. So big data is not going to go away. Big data is something which is going to be there in silo, in sync with cloud, and that is where the data lake concept comes into picture. Now when big data is there, you have your unstructured data in place, you want to move that on cloud, so you are basically building a data lake which is hosted on cloud, right? And the third being the reporting dashboards and all migration. So we have various of reporting dashboard, Tableau, ClickView, and all these things. So now all of them, even let's take for example our basic test management tool like Jira. Everything has an on-premise or a cloud version, right? So you have to make sure that the way these applications, the data getting reflected in these applications, the dashboards generating data, you are getting the data in these dashboards to what is being stored in the backend. So the intent is that you ensure that your any SaaS application is not kind of giving you an incorrect data. The use case number two, where we are talking about application modernization, this is where one more point I want to touch base is basically is the various packages which we have in place, like Salesforce, then we have MSD 365. All is these are kind of application modernization from where we are basically going from our traditional CRM and ERP system to this cloud-based solutions, right? So that is where also we have to. So it's basically within the application, within the package, the migration is happening, but then there is a data movement which is happening because your backend data is going to move to your cloud version of it. So you have to ensure that you are validating the data which is going out there. So that is where is four different use cases comes into picture. Now, for these four different use cases, what will be my cloud migration validation strategy? So I need to start validating my data starting from the job. The first thing being that in each of these four use cases, there is going to be a job involved which is going to do the migration for you of your data, because I'm talking about data. I'm not talking about your application validation. So when it comes into your job migration validation, we have to ensure that we validate the connectivity, the database interface testing, and all these things. So though it is not a part and parcel and hard and fast rule for the data point of view, but these days when we are working in a CI/CD model. We have to ensure that all the jobs are getting posting you the right data, and then only your next set of data validation comes into picture. So it's not that you are hard typical testing a data side of it, but you are more about the connectivity side of it, which you check to ensure that you have the right files placed, the files gets moved, and then you start your validation journey, right? So then when you move, the jobs are well settled, well tested, well established, then comes it should be your cloud data integration validation point, where you basically check the data readiness, the DB correctness, decryption, conversion, and all those kind of things you are. So there are sometimes where you will get files in zip format, gunzo zip, gzip, and all those. So you want to make sure that okay, the compression, decompression, and all those things are being taken care of, and these are the integration points which you will test, right? So if it needs that before you move the data into the cloud, you might have to, you are getting it from the various source systems, so you want to unzip it, and then only the data movement happen. You check the correctness of the file, that the file is correct. So in the gzip file, let's say all the data has got zipped out there, but then many of the data, the file format itself is not correct, and it cannot be processed further because your system expects a CSV or a Parquet file. So you do those checkings out here so that you ensure that you are checking the integration points out here, right? Now, once you check, once you validate that you have the right set of data which is there as a part of your strategy, you need to basically ensure your database integrity check. So, which means your metadata validation has to be performed here. Full complete data completeness check, right? That what was there in the source, at least a full volume count check is what you check out here. You don't check it at a reconciliation level, but you check it at a more of a volume level, at a quality level with what you do out here, right? Then comes your data migration validation, where you are then moving to your final database or data warehouse or your cloud data lake, where the data is going to reside and store and is going to be fed by the various analytics and visualization there, right? Now, that is where you have to ensure that you do your source target reconciliation, you do your quality check again out here, because this this one point to another, the data is flowing. So where the data is flowing from one point to another, every point we have to touch base on the quality side of it. Table level full check, data orchestration, setup, validations, and all those things is what we'll be performing as a part of it. Then as we move into the analytics layer is where we ensure the business logic is what we check out here. So till the migration layer, we are talking about only at a data, individual identity, the smallest unit which we are checking. But end to end is what we need to check is what we will do in the analytics side of it. We do an analytics validation, the transformation validations out here. Your end to end flow, you have the right data, but is the differential integrity wherever the data is going to get called, it is called and it is getting reflected properly, or if the data is there and being fed into the end-to-end business logic is working fine. So that is what you will be validating as a side of it. And the last bit being the visualization layer where you have all your various visualization reports and all. So here what you check that whatever the data which is there at your back end is the right data coming out there. You do a slicing dicing, you deep dive into let's say a sales report, and you go up to a region, from a region to a country, from a country to a locality. So then what data you should get out here, are you getting that is the same data which is stored at your back end in your data target layer, right? So that is what we have to check along with certain small amount of visualization when we are talking about UI level, but that is not something which becomes an hard and fast from, because that's something which gets covered as a part of functional testing. But yes, definitely where the data should reflect, is it reflecting under that column or not, those kind of check is what we should strategize ourselves in this migration, cloud migration journey. So we talked about the strategy, we talked about the various use cases. Now this is what I was talking about is the various pit stop which you have when you are moving your data to cloud. You will not move your data to cloud in just a lift and shift mechanism. It's not going to happen because your entire architecture is different. Okay. Now that is where is the concept of the various failure points which comes into picture. Now, be it any of the cloud service provider, I've taken for example the most important one which we are using day in and day out as AWS, Azure, and Google GCP. Each of these has these four layers, like supports these four layers, or data movement to them will happen across four layers. We might have different services which we call it as a different way when it is in AWS, when it is in Azure, when it's in GCP. But net they will have all these layers which is happening for during a cloud migration. So the first being that you have your data which is there on on-premise, you have your data which is might be there on cloud, and so sometimes just to take the cloud part, when it is cloud to cloud, if it is not different cloud like within AWS, then maybe you have a lift and shift which can be done. But if you are, it's a multi-cloud between Azure to AWS. If you're doing it, then also you need to make sure that these four layers are be will be addressed upon, right? Now, when it is happening, typically taking example that we're trying to move from source to cloud, then the first point comes is the ingestion layer, right? Now, this is where is the first pit stop or the failure point, that from the source your raw data is moving. You have done some certain level of validation before moving the data into the first layer, that is the ingestion. But still, the moment the data moves into the ingestion layer, you have to do a metadata check. You have to do a completeness, you have to do a full volume data check as well as a data quality check. Then once this is achieved, this validation is performed, and we moved into the next, which is sessionization, which is nothing but a processing. So what it does in this sessionization layer is that you are basically clubbing or grouping or the data into specific sessions, or as we say in specific groups, right? So that is where you would do a certain amount of reconciliation between source and target, that okay, if you club this together in one session of a particular set of data, what was there in source, what is there in target, are you getting that or not, right? You again do a full volume check, table and entity level and incremental data. So it can be one time load, it can be incremental load. So if it is an incremental load, then for each increment you have to check it. What it means is one time is that in one time is that only one time full load is moving. So that's where you will just touch base 1, 2, 3, 4. But if it's an incremental load, with each increment you have to touch your 1, 2, 3, 4 fail. You have to ensure the failure points are being addressed, and the validation is done for those layers, right? Then comes your processing, where we are talking about the transformation process data. So you check for aggregates, you check for data integrity, and all the various business transformation logic and all is what you validate out here. And finally, being the analytics, we are the visualization layer where the functional and the UI validation, along with that, the backend data check with the UI of the data visualization layer is being done. So, irrespective of what is your cloud service provider, you have to ensure that these 4 points, failure points, are addressed and you perform validation in line to that. Because a miss of each, because each acts as a source and a target for you. So, if you look into, if you relate this, right, to your on premise or how we have been doing our previous migration from one source system to another during on premise, we everything is for us is a source and a target. So means I have a data which was there in source and it has moved to target. So now if you look into these points, 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, each is basically, and 4 with your backend, right? So each is basically acting as a source and a target for you, and that is where you have to ensure that for each of these layer you validate. And then for each of these layer there are certain specific checks which you can do. There are some of the layer where you need not do it, like a full end-to-end business logic check. You have to do it in the processing or the analytics layer. There's no you use validating that at the ingestion layer, because you will not get the end-to-end data right here, right? Unless you move it, transform it, then only you will get that part. Correct. So these are the failure points. Now to cover these failure points is what is the approach which we talked about these 4 validation points and which are in place, and we failure points, and we do a validation. Now each of these validation can again be, now if I look into point 1, 2, 3, and 4, this works out only when you start doing early validation, right? You start identifying your gaps before ingestion. So what does this these 4 points tell us? That we have to do early validation. We have to start leveraging all, understanding all the rules and tagging it with their pattern. If there is any data which is missing before the ingestion, then we should simulate the data and then only ingest it before sending some junk or null data, which is not going to give you like the final goal which you want to achieve at the visualization layer. Now, pipeline is basically your point 2 and 3, where you are doing your source target reconciliation, your data security checks, your orchestration between with the various DevOps integration is what you are trying to achieve in that. Analytics is again the business transformation validation, which we talk about in detail. And this is where we have seen that we can leverage various kind of ML models and algorithms to speed up our analytics process, where you can validate these using various ML algorithms also, and speed up this particular out. So there are certain solutions which we can leverage out here, where for example that if these are like if XYZ is integrated and it gives you Y as the result, now you can like extrapolate it, and then if it becomes X1 and Y1 to Y1, that what will be Z1. So you can then extrapolate these all things using your ML level validation, and that helps in your transformation journey also, right? So now the key to all these things we have been talking about, that these are the validation strategy and which we have to. And one point which we touched in the differentiation earlier is that the presence of a cloud native solution, right? Now we have on-premise solutions which can support, which can be extended. We have seen they can be extended, but they cannot wholly or holistically support all the things in the cloud region, and that is where we need to build up native solutions to speed up our end-to-end data validation journey. And why we need to build this cloud native solutions? So when I say cloud native solutions, basically you're building your, so you have a database which is on premise, have a database which is on let's say Azure or AWS, a SQL database. But then this SQL database is something which is you come with various categories, can be brought up or down, and you can connect with various with the connectors which has been given. So these are the benefits which you will get for the native solutions if you are leveraging it, right? And that is the reason why to go for a cloud native solution in this journey and not go with something which is on premise. And the benefit which comes out of it, scalable. So these most of these cloud native solutions are microservices which can work without disruption. So within your solution, the various modules can act, each can be a different microservice. So if one of the microservice is not working, one, so that means only that module is impacted. For example, if I have a data validation solution which does masking, which does data comparison, if the masking one goes down, you can still continue with your comparison. There is no way that it is going to impact that, right? So these benefit you get from the utilizing the native services and building native solution. Accessible, so they are on cloud, they are available on cloud, and is highly accessible by cloud, right, within cloud, right? Implementation is faster. There is no software hardware. When I say no software hardware required, what it means is that you everything is at your hand. You build up the software and the hardware whatever is needed, because your cloud, the cloud subscription or the service provider is giving you everything. So you need not wait for this long approval process of infrastructure which is needed for other solution. Maintenance is low because based on the service, what kind of service you are going with the cloud vendor, the maintenance is being taken care of them. You just work and concentrate and build a solution out there. Design, as I already discussed in the scalable part of it, multi-tenant instances, right? So microservices base which is there. And cost effective. In the initial, when we compare, we feel that the cost is very high because we are seeing pay per use, and we feel that we are paying more. But the long run, if you compare the capex and the opex, you will for sure get the benefit of your cloud native solution being cheaper in that. So, as a test manager, what is the checklist which should follow, right, or which we should have when we are working in a, so the in a cloud journey, right? So when I talked about the topic, the success, I want to cover technology side, the various strategy side, the validation approach. At the same time, as a test manager, what things we should consider, right? So one is that establish the right skill set within the team. So somebody who's working, if you feel that we can, anyone who can is who, some anyone for sure can work in cloud. There's no doubt about that. But then the skill set has to be developed. It cannot be somebody who is working on a regular Oracle on-premise and you want to leverage that resource. Give him the proper training so that he or she is able to understand the nuances of cloud, how to make sure utilize the cloud infrastructure, uptime, downtime, all this. So, right skill set is the must for a success of your any cloud migration journey. If you are not putting the right skill set, the people. So, if you want to do a migration to Snowflake, and we put somebody who's a Java developer, or like, because he understands regular database, it's not going to work out, right? Because every technology in cloud has a different ask. There is a difference which is which distinguishes it from other. So that is why you have to make sure that you establish the right skill set. Continuous resource enablement. So once you put it, your cloud strategy is changing day in and day out. We are talking about cloud movement now, but your cloud, every day we are seeing new things which is coming up in cloud. A database analytics layer. We started initially with Azure and SQL, like SQL and regular RDBMS. Now we have various databases like DynamoDB. We have Synapse, which are the analytics databases, right? So these resource enablement is a must when working in a cloud migration program. Cost management. Fixed cost is definitely one side of a cloud, which is there, which will come as a part of your resource and all those things, and which we have to take care. But then there is a running cost also which is associated with cloud, because we are running everything on a cloud instance. The service up and down time leads to a running cost. So how we can maintain that running cost? Because even at a QA, we are bound to this running cost. So we have to make sure our queries which we're firing is optimized, they're fine tuned, they're performance tuned, so that we don't end up into running queries which are going into longer duration and finally. So we worked on projects where it's like that we put a protocol that if a query is going executing more than 6 to 7 minutes, truncate. We have to close it out. We cannot wait for that, because there is a recurring cost which is a continuous cost, not a recurring cost, a continuous cost which is going out there, right? And cost optimization in the QA environment. These 2 points kind of is linked to each other. But this is the way how we can optimize it, right? As a as a QA manager, as a test manager, we have to look into these aspects so that my QA environment, the cost is within that. because we don't want that our QA region cost becomes way higher than the implementation cost journey, right? So these are the four validation points or checklists from a test manager perspective which we should look into. So in the end, I wanted to conclude that with this point that cloud movement is something which is undeniable. All of us are doing that. And when there's a cloud movement happening, there is going to be a data movement which is going to happen. Now, if, with the data movement, I have to make sure as a QA, as a QA team, that for me to ensure and validate that this data movement has happened, there has to be a right strategy where we focus on each and every failure point, each and every pitch stop which is happening before the data is moving to cloud. I have the right set of skilled resources because that is very much needed ask. Without skilled resource, your client journey is not going to be successful. You have a proper validation approach. Now, this 1, 2, 3, 4 points which I touch based the previous slides, whether you really need 1, 2, 3, 4 or there is 1 and 2 and 4 only can be done. So you have to inline, make sure that you are touch base on all those, you understand the data movement across all these points and then have a validation approach. And for sure, to make it successful, all this validation to happen, cloud native tools or solution is the need of the hour, because that will only help any organization to achieve what they want to achieve in their migration journey. So it's basically a strategy, right resource, a valid approach, and a solution which is cloud native will help any organization ensure the success which they want to get in their cloud adoption program. So Swati, that's it from my side. There's any questions or further add. Thank you.
So yeah, we have one question. Which are the factors should we consider for data migration to cloud?
Data migration to cloud, if you want to consider the factors when you should migrate to cloud is that first thing is that the volume of data which you are handling right now. So if this is I'm talking from a data perspective, right? So the first thing is the volume of data which you are handling. Your if you are going with your on-premise, your technology, your on-premise landscape is going to either cost you way beyond your budget, or it is something we have seen customers where the on-premise warehouses and databases are not able to handle the way the organization is churning data. Now that becomes the first and the foremost point where you have to plan out your cloud journey. If your present landscape is not able to handle and manage the data because you are generating data at a rate which is not able to be manageable, then you have to do go for a cloud migration journey for your program, right? And at the same time, if the second thing is that if you have you are leveraging a lot of SaaS packages like your ERP, CRM applications, for you should definitely go and move to cloud, because it's not about that having the data is one side of it. It is all about that how you want your application to be available to your customer. If you want your applications to be available fast, to be available at the snap of your finger, then cloud is the answer, because you are going to make sure that your application is up and running. There is a continuous focus maintenance which is happening, and your application is available. Then also you should go for your cloud migration journey. So it's basically the data, in data capacity is the data, and also your application reachability to your customer should decide on your cloud journey.
Okay, thank you. So that's all we have.
Okay, Swati, thanks a lot. Thanks everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.